Hey there, it's Reem, and I decided to do a recap of the second round of Iron Chef tournament. If you want more information about that tournament, that's being run by Stewbucket in the main Armada Discord. You can look at the main Armada Discord and find it there, or I talk about it a bit more in the round one video. So for round two, the ingredients that I had and my opponent have are listed here. We'll go through them. Meeting 3 of the requirements is mandatory. Meeting 4 gets you an extra 1.5 tournament points. So let's see what I had. So for round 2, the 4 that I had were number 5, 36, 63, and 85. So number 5 was excluding flotillas. No ship in your fleet may be the same size. So for example, you may not have one Gozanti, one Raider, and one Gladiator, but you can have 1 or 2 Gozantis and either a Glad or a Raider. Your commander must be on your most expensive ship after counting upgrade cards before counting the points your commander adds is number 36. Number 63 is no upgrade cards except your commander, which obviously can feature a human in their artwork. So Shriv is fine, boarding engineers is not. And for the purpose of this ingredient, unidentified figures wearing face covering helmets are assumed to be non-human, so like veteran gunners. I had to ask about a couple different cards for this, so it was a lot of fun. To work with. Like, was projection experts one or not? So going back and forth, figuring out what was available and what wasn't. And depending on what faction you're playing, it really limits officer cards, especially. And then 85 was run an ISD, the Independence, which is the MC80, I believe. The Gilded Aegis title on a Recusant or 2 Acclimator class assault ships. My opponent for the second round was Shyvalry. I've played him in a tournament before. Awesome opponent. We had a really good game, but his restrictions for fleet building were 21, 89, 91, and 100. 21 was run a fleet where every weapons team is filled with ruthless strategists. 89 was run 2 Scourgs or 2 TIE Phantoms. Neither may have defense tokens. And you can run more than 2, but you have to run at least 2. 91 was have a bid of at least 10 points. And then 100, I believe my opponent had that last round, was across your entire fleet, you must have a grand total of exactly 4 redirect tokens. And that's at game start. So if you have officers that swap tokens around, like agate or stuff, it's after all of that has happened. So as far as requirements, I met all 4 of mine. Shyvalry met 3 out of 4. I think it was, we talked a bit during the game. I think it was a bit of an accident. He thought he was going to have 4 redirects with agate. We'll go through lists here in a second. But he ended up not. So I would get the extra 1.5 tournament points. Shyvalry did not. So that will go over to the lists. So for lists, I went with Imperial. I was tempted to do Gilded, but I didn't want to do Separatists again. I'm going to see if I can do all 4 factions over all 4 rounds. And Garv this time required 2 Acclimators, and one of the other requirements is not doubling up on ship hull sizes, so Gar was out of it. I decided to do Imperials because I wanted to do ISD 1 instead of the Independence. So it's round 2, 400 points. I called it the Cruising Sevens because 7th Fleet is going to be the title we're working with here. But starting off the list, we have the ISD 1 with Admiral Ozzel, Reeva, Local Fire Control, Flak Guns, Tractor Beams, taking that from Spike, a little bit of that speed shenanigans from round 1. Point Defense Ion Cannons, Link Turbolaser Towers, and 7th Fleet Star Destroyer. Next, we had ourselves a Victory 1 with Local Fire Control, Link Turbolaser Towers, Ordnance Pods, and 7th Fleet Star Destroyer as well. For the small, we had a Gladiator II class Star Destroyer with external racks and 7th Fleet. I had some extra points laying around, so I decided to go with the Gozanti class assault carriers with just munitions resupply, help bring some dice fixing a little bit. And then for squads, I really just want to experiment with new things with this, and I was like, Mandalorian Gauntlet fighters, 2 of them are only 10 more points than Sienna and Valen, which is the normal like light squad cover. And I'm like, Gauntlet fighters can't be one shot by anything. Like even Anakin, if he were to have flight controllers, can get a max of 5 damage plus splashy for 1. So I don't think Gauntlets can be one shot by anything in the game. Like even Grievous, if he rolls with the crits, I don't think can do it. So I was like, they're for sure going to last 2 shots, and I actually had 3 extra points, so I was like, I'll get Gar, which has brace on him. So for 3 number points, gets a brace. And some of the test games I had, it's actually kind of nice too, because they're rogue, they're speed 4, you don't have to control them like Valen or Sienna, and like just getting like raid, it's kind of actually funny in some of the testing games I had. For objectives, I had Advanced Gunnery, works great with the ISD, Contested Outpost, and Infested Fields. Whole idea with this was to try and tank with 7th Fleet and really try and use Ozzel ability to determine when the fight was going to be, like stagger my fleet a little bit. I have really good speed control, and also I thought the tractor beams would be really useful in trying to keep stuff slowed down for the ISD to actually catch up and pounce on. So that's what I had for my fleet at 400 points. Shyvalry, his fleet is over here. Shyvalry's fleet came in at 388, so he met the requirement of at least 10-point bid. He ran an assault frigate Mark II-A with Krista Agate, Walex, Ruthless Strategists, Reinforced Blast Doors, Linked Turbolaser Towers, and Gallant Haven. Next, he had a CR-90A with Hondo, Turbolaser Reroute Circuits, Jaina's Late. Also had a GR-75 medium transport with Ader Talon, Bomber Command Center, and boosted comms. And a GR-75 with Torn Far, Slicer Tools, and Bright Hope. So a couple of expensive transports, I think like 40 points total and 34. Nice little efficient CR-90 and a very, very tanky assault frigate. I think when I've played him before in a tournament, I think he really likes these assault frigates, and they are fun to deal with, I found out. Next, the most important part of his fleet, though, is the squad package. Nice little rogue ball we have here with Ketsu, Lando, Hera, and Ghost. So giving out rogue to a couple other squads, Dash, and then the pair of Scourgs that was required for one of his fleet building requirements. So nice little squad package here. 4 bombers. Lando's just super solid. Hera's tanky, solid anti-squad for the cost. So really, really mean. And I was not happy to see this squad lineup when I realized I only had a couple of Gauntlet fighters. But we'll get to that in the game. His objectives were Precision Strike, Asteroid Tactics, and Infested Fields. So solid list here with all the bombers. Precision Strike's good. Asteroid Tactics is always great if you're running Lando. And Infested Fields, just object control. Pretty easy to get the points on your side and then also help lock down squads on the enemy side. So with that, let's recap of his list and my list. We'll go over a quick recap of the game. I tried to make a couple of little images here, at least for the deployment, instead of just moving my mouse around. So this was deployment, end of deployment, I should say. I'm at the top here, and Shyvalry's down here. Just off screen, I didn't capture it. I ended up choosing Asteroid Tactics. He let me have the pick uh, by playing me as first, and I really didn't want to give Lando Asteroid Tactics, but I knew I was going to lose the squad battle, so I didn't want to be farmed with Precision Strike either. So the other thing with all these squads difference is I kind of got really out deployed, especially first. I got to put the Gozanti down and the two fighters, and Shyvalry had to put down his Gozanti and three deployments of that. So I was mostly deployed, I think, by the time he put his last two ships down. But after deployment, this is kind of how I thought everything was going to go, and this is what I was kind of going through. Because when I deployed all my ships, all I really knew where this Gozanti was. So based off of that, I thought I'd run the Victory down the middle, have the Gladiator stay close but guard this little lane. And the ISD was basically going to go to 3 and swing in and try and like hammer and anvil from the side here. Hopefully the Victory would live long enough to pin something in. I was hoping maybe he'd bring the assault frigate in, or I'd be able to come up fast enough with the ISD to cut him off. Obviously, this is where I thought he might go. I thought this flotilla was a little out of place. This is his Adar Talon. So the option is to run off over this way or to try and like cut over. I figured cutting over would probably be the preferred method. Keep his, like, if he runs off this way, he won't really be able to squat at all. If Adar runs this way, if he can just like outrun the ISD or not be the priority for the ISD, there's a chance he can like slip away if he can get up to speed 2 or 3 out this way. This is a slicer, so that's obviously going to come in and be annoying. The assault frigate I figured was going to come up here. It's a long dice ship. This is a nice lane for it to go through. The only thing it will really have to go around is a Gladiator, so the Gladiator really can't body block it. Even if I were to bring the Victory out this way, the assault frigate would just go in between that like that. The thing I didn't know for sure that was going to happen was the CR90. I figured there was a chance, since this was just one, that the CR90 could arc over this way on like round 1. And Shyvalry would do that, I think, if the plan was to kill the ISD, because then you could bring like the CR90 out this way and essentially go behind the ISD, farming it, and then circle around this way, and you're just going to get behind the stuff. If the target's the Victory, probably just straight ahead, get some long range dice in as it comes this way. So that was the main point, and then based on where the CR90 went was going to be how I decided which way my Gozanti went. If the 90 went this way, it's more likely the assault frigate's going to come closer this way, and I'd go more into the center with the Gozanti. But if the CR90 is going out, we'll use the red dice on the Gozanti to maybe get some chip damage in as it runs away. So I was going to do like a harder turn with Ozzel and then start speeding up again. So that was my initial thought of how the game was going to go. I guess I should point out the squads. When I did deployment, my thought was hopefully I won't tie up my squads until like round 3. If the end of round 2 he like bombs me with squads, I can maybe activate with the Gozanti to tie him up like in front of the ISD instead of doing some of the things that rogues do where like, they fly into you on the end of one round and then they got the squad commands to fly out, and the next round they fly back in, and you never get good flak shots off. Because I knew these bombers were going to tear me apart. Lando was probably going to kill Gozanti, so keeping these two as far away as possible. was the goal, especially with asteroid tactics, to just get the brace back all the time for setting double shenanigans. But I was really hoping if I could just stall, maybe if I engage on turn 3 with the squads, they're hopefully not doing anything on 3 or not doing anything on 4. Give me some time to breathe. Um, and a note that I really was reinforced in this game as we go through, 7th Fleet I think is obviously too expensive for what it does, especially since it only blocks stuff targeting the front. And they got really wide front arcs, which is fine in test games, or in test game I should say. I got some value out of it. But if you're going against squad like rogue bombers, like just bombing into your side, ignoring 7th Fleet entirely is basically what's going to happen. So seeing this, I was like, I got 15 points of titles that isn't going to do too much for me. I think it does a little bit, but we'll go through the game. So this is end of deployment. We'll do end of round 1. So end of round 1, ISD is moving up to 3 because I know I'm going to have to get in here. Victory's moving up. Speed 2, and the Gladiator is moving up at 2. I put a little exclamation point here because I was trying to keep the squads like back and reserved. And at this point, it's after the squads move, the Exegors come down, and I realized I thought I was far enough away from this asteroid, but this normal Mandalorian Gauntlet fighter is just in range of the worm, which makes me panic a little bit and abandon my strategy. I think you'll see at the picture of what happens here. But I end up setting a squad dial for round 2 on the Gozanti and just throwing the gauntlets into this ball here. Just because I don't want them to get munched. I should have just activated with the Gozanti and just pulled them back and stuck to the initial plan of like delaying and breaking up the squad engagement. But that is not what happens. Everything else, you also see that CR90 is in fact coming up this way. There's no like trying to cut off in front, so the ISD definitely has to go faster this way. And in retrospect, I should have slowed this down because I know that the target here is going to be the Victory and probably the Glad. So I just needed to stall the engagement for the ISD to get in. All right, so this is end of round 1. Captured something mid round 2 because it was interesting. This is the squads. As you can see, the Gozanti threw them in. The Gauntlets, one thing they're not great at is they're tanky, so take them like they can't be one shot by anything. Probably take 2 or 3 shots, but they also can't kill anything. It's 2 blues and a red with no rerolls. So they both flew in and tried to kill this Skurg bomber at 6 health. They did 4, which is average for them. And then they're just stuck here. And as you can see, one's almost dead already, but they are doing a number of activations. I believe that was 2. The kill guard. Basically, I think this round Shyvalry used all the squad activations to kill these 2 squads. So it did prevent a round of bombing. But ideally, I would have liked them to like fly into a ship so that I would have been able to flak them and then go in with the squads to tie them down. But not what happened. Other thing of note, point out here is Adar Talon was trying to make a run for it, but the ISD with the tractor beams has slowed him down. I think Talon jumped up to 2 to land here, and then I've slowed it down again with 1, and it's in a really good position to be hit by the ISD at the top of the next round. I will say, flying an ISD at speed 3 with tractor beams or just Ozzel shenanigans and being first player, a lot of fun because you can just set up these kinds of this is an ideal shot, but you can set up really fun things. Slicers coming in to slice things, and you'll see that these are coming in as well. So this is mid of round 2. So end of the round, as you can see, both squads have died. Lando discarded a brace, got it back with landing on an asteroid, and everything else is just moving in. I have tried to cut off this path a bit, hoping to set up like some sort of double arc as I force the CR90 to go. I know if I can kill, with my first activation, I know if I can kill this Gozanti at the start of round 3, I'll have the activation numbers, and then I can activate the Gladiator last. So hopefully the CR90 comes into like a double, was kind of my hope here at the end of round 2. So ISD first, kill this, maybe tractor beam that, start slowing down with the victory because it's too far forward here. I'd like it back just a little bit in hindsight. So this is end of round 2. 3, end of round 3, I should say. The CR90, as I said, didn't like the prospect of double arcing itself against the Gladiator, so it actually slowed down and kind of blocked itself in with Exogorus to block the engagement. The ISD did kill the Adar Talon ship. However, I had to do it with a ram, and that meant that instead of being like right here, I was back like a full click, which means I am super far away from the assault frigate, which means I'm definitely not going to be able to kill it at long. If I could get into close and like tractor beam it and like keep it at 1 for like the last 3 rounds over here and like keep it in close, I might be able to kill the assault frigate, but seeing this, it's definitely a prayer to kill it. And also you can see at the end of round 3 what's happened here is the bombers have been let loose, and the victory is feeling the brunt of it. Slicered the victory to get rid of the engineering token that was up, so it got squads. And just freely bombing in here. And also they're all like in the front arc of the ISD, so next round when I activate, it's going to be the ISD, so I can tractor beam the assault frigate. I'm still going to try and make a play for killing it. It would really rely on Shyvalry not having a navigate here, because it does have a token on the ship, so I'm going to force the token off. It's going to stay at 2, and then at minimum it's 2. It's going to be like over here, and I'm going to have to tractor it again down to 1, but Shyvalry has not used Hondo, so it's not going to work. But I mean, what else can you do? You guys gotta keep trying. So plan here, delay again with the Gladiator. This time the CR90's got to do something. If it just flies straight in, it'll probably be a double arc. If it tries to run away, it'll probably be a double arc. So delay with the Gladiator. Go first with the ISD. Hope that the victory survives to go second, and the Gladiator just kind of fills in delays for the Gladiator. Or the Gladiator here. All right, so we'll go to top of round, or end of round 4, or partway through 4, I should say. The victory goes down to bombers and to the assault frigate. Before it goes out, though, it kills the Slicer Gozanti. This turn, the Slicer Gozanti slice the Gladiator into a squadron dial, so its repair is gone for next turn. However, the CR90 did get up to 3, but was forced to land right here in this double arc. I end up killing it, but the Gladiator's down to 3 health, like no shields, really stressed tokens. All the bombers are fine. I still got this one on 2 health I haven't been able to pin down. The Gozanti here needs like a miracle to survive because it's double arced by an assault frigate, and Lando's now free to like come up next turn and kill it if the assault frigate just rams. I did tractor beam the assault frigate, but the token, Shyvalry just spent it off and actually had a nav dial queued up, so went up to 3, and at this point I know the assault frigate's gone. It's getting into my side arc. I think it's at medium out the front. So At this point, it was damage mitigation. This is dead. This is going to die. If I can keep the Gladiator alive somehow and like manage to like pick off some squads, like if I can kill this one and maybe like X-Rex this one, maybe I can kill these two and pull out like a narrow win, or at least mitigate the damage. At this point, it's just damage mitigation. Um, that was kind of the plan. First to go, after some debate, was going to be the Gladiator. I really wanted to go the ISD to like really try and see if I could like slow it down to 2 and turn in sharp, but I didn't have a navigate dial lined up, so I couldn't do like a turn 1, a hard turn. If I did, I might have tried it, but it's like engineering queued up because I was worried earlier on in the game, you know, it's command 3, if the squads do decide to pounce on the ISD, they could potentially like really wreck it if engineering dials aren't queued up. So it's like 160, 170 point ship. I definitely didn't want to lose it. So go with this flak and try and run away and survive was the goal. All right, so we'll go to end of round 4. Oh yeah, this is just me landing on, after blowing up that CR90, I land on the Exogorth and on this debris field, take some more shield damage. And the squads have just convened up as well as the squads bombed into the side of the Gladiator, nullifying the 7th Fleet once again. So this is the end of 5. The Gladiator tried running away, got killed by Ketsu. Before it ran away, it did flak. It killed the one Skurg that was on 1 health. It got the other one that was at 6 down to 1. Assault frigate did 1 damage to the Gozanti and then flew away. Lando kills the Gozanti, and we basically call it here because they're not. Shyvalry's not killing the ISD. I'm not killing anything else here because even going first, this has blue, black, flak. There's nothing it can kill. It's all obstructed. Really, really good squad play. Really know that Shyvalry is good with rebel rogue balls and like the assault frigates in this game. Once again, showed it from the last time I played them in a tournament. So I don't have the exact values here, but it was a 7-4 to Shyvalry. I get an extra 1.5 points for meeting all 4 requirements, so 7 to 5.5. So not terrible in team points. Doing all right. We'll see if I get a couple big wins. I might come up towards the top in the final couple rounds, but it's kind of it's a fun casual tournament. I'm just having fun with it. These rogues, I'm actually tempted to. I don't normally play rogue rebels, rogue ball, but like this ball is actually pretty fun, and I might give it a shot. The Gauntlet fighters, I'm not sold on them. They're fun. If I play more Imperial, I might mess around with them for fun. Like anytime I consider like Sienna or Valen, if I have like 10 extra points, just going 10 Gauntlet fighters, I think would be really fun. Because I mean, on paper, they're speed 4, rogue. They can give raid in niche situations. Otherwise, they're just double dice non-bombers. Seem like they could be good. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll come up again in the tournament. We'll have to see what requirements are. But overall, great game to Shyvalry. Fantastic opponent. Fantastic play. And once again, Stewbucket, thank you for organizing this. Having a lot of fun with the requirements. I like never play Imperials, and this was a fun chance to run them, especially in ISD 1 with a tractor beam and with Ozzel. Ozzel's a great commander. As someone who normally plays Gar, like just speed control on all your ships for fun. Like I normally use Bale for nav dials and stuff, but like it was just a lot of fun. Like I was changing speeds on all 3 ships. Well, I guess not with the ISD so much, but everything else, all the turns for fun. don't have to think about it. You wait till you bring out the maneuver tool, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna slow down. Or I'm gonna speed up. I know what I'm doing here. Really great. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.